So hey everybody, this is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to do these mesh shell crochet stitch. And they're very easy to do, and it's going to be this stitch is going to be a 4-row repeat. The multiples of this stitch is 10 plus 2, and what that means is that you're going to have multiples, you're going to chain in multiples of 10, 10, 10, 10 until you've reached your desired width. And once you have, you want to chain 2 more. And you're ready to begin row 1. You can do this stitch using any ply yarn and any size hook that yarn recommends. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using a thicker size yarn and a 6mm hook, which is a size J hook for the US, just to hopefully that you'll see the stitches a lot easier. But for my pictures of my stitch that you see, I used a 5mm hook, size H hook for the US, and worsted weight yarn, which is 4-ply for the US, 10-ply for Australia. Now the gauge for this stitch is 4 stitches equal 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. Also, I'll have the chart link on my webpage and also a picture tutorial. So I did 2 sets of 10, and now I'm going to chain 2, and now I'm ready to begin row 1. For row 1, you want a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So count 1, 2, and in the second chain, put a single crochet. Then you want to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you want to skip 4. So you can see this is the stitch we used last. So we're not going to count that one. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip those 4. So in this 5th chain over, we're going to put a double crochet. Then you want to chain 3. And in that same stitch, so we put the last double crochet in, you'll put a double crochet. And then you're going to chain 3 again. And then you're going to skip 4 again. So not counting this one, the very next one here is our first skip stitch. So we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, skip this 4, and then the 5th one over, put a single crochet. And that'll be our repeat from the single crochet, doing what we just did. And now we just did a single crochet, so we're going to repeat what we just did here. So we'll chain 3, skip 4. So chain 3, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one over, you'll put your double crochet, just like we did here. Double crochet, chain 3, and then double crochet in that same stitch. And that will be the repeat for the row. You'll do that over and over and over again. And then when you get to the end of your row, you're going to do like you did before. You'll chain 3. Ugh. Hold on, this yarn is being mean to me. So you'll chain 3. Then you'll skip 1, 2, 3, 4, and in this 5th chain, which is the last chain, you'll put a single crochet. And that will end row 1. So just keep on repeating that repeat, and it should perfectly end with the pattern with ending with a single crochet. And that will end row 1. Okay, so for row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn. And you're going to single crochet in that very first single crochet. And then you're going to single crochet in that chain 3 space. So 3 chains and 3 single crochets will go in this chain 3. So count 1, 2, and 3, which brings us up to our double crochet, chain 3, double crochet in the same stitch, and we're going to be putting 5 single crochets all worked in this chain 3 space. So we're going to ignore both double crochets, only working in that chain 3. You want to put 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you'll skip this double crochet on this side, And again, you're going to put 3 single crochets in that chain 3 space. And you're going to skip the single crochet. You won't be working in these single crochets this time. You're just going to be working on the chain spaces only. So skip on over to the next chain 3. And remember, you're going to be doing 3 single crochets in your chain 3 spots on either side of these little peaks. And in the middle peak, these 3, you'll put 5 single crochets. So repeat that for your row, always skipping the connecting single crochet that connects the different sections. Always skip those. So I put 3 single crochets there. Now I'm on my peak section, so I'm going to put 5, 3, 4, and 5. And then this is essentially my end of my row. Into the row, you're going to be putting 3 single crochets worked in that chain 3 space, and then you'll end your row by single crocheting in that ending single crochet, and that ends row 2. So for row 3, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn. So you'll skip, so essentially you're skipping these first 4. So find the very first single crochet of your row, count 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one over should be the start of your 5 single crochets. In this first single crochet of the peak, you'll put a double crochet, chain 1. And then you'll do that for all these 5 single crochets. So go into the next single crochet, you'll do a double crochet, chain 1. Then the next one, you'll do a double crochet, chain 1. Then the following one, you'll do a double crochet, chain 1. And then the final one, you'll do just a double crochet. Don't chain 1 after the 5th one. You should have 5 double crochets with 1, 2, 3, with 4 chains in between. So after you did that, you'll skip again these 3 on this side and these 3 on this side. We're only going to be crocheting in the chain, the peaks like we just did. The only other one is going to be the single crochet we skipped last time. This will be our anchor stitch. So you'll want to find a place between these 3 single crochets that were worked in this chain and these 3 single crochets that were worked in this chain. You want to find a space in between. You can push it up, but there is a space here you can find. That's basically the skipped stitch. When you went from here to here, and in this stitch, you want to put, so you're going to be using this hole, you'll put your double crochet. So in that space there, I'll put a double crochet. And again, the double crochet on the end of these 5, you won't chain 1, and then also at the beginning of this one, you won't chain 1. So just go right into that first of 5 stitches here for the peak, and you'll put your very first double crochet. So it should be double crochet, then in the middle double crochet, and then you'll start your peak repeat again. So you'll chain 1, go into the very next stitch, and chain 1. Double crochet in the very next stitch, chain 1. Then we have 2 more stitches left of our peak. So the next one will be a double crochet, chain 1. And then the last one will just be a double crochet. And then again, you'll find that stitch between the 2 sets of 3 single crochets here, back on row 1. Find that space above the stitch, just that space, and you'll put a double crochet there. And then you'll move back and start doing your peaks again. And you'll repeat that for the row. And then when you get to the end of your row, without chaining, you're going to skip the 3 on this side and just single crochet in that very last stitch. Wait, is it single crochet? Maybe double crochet. Double crochet, sorry. So you'll skip those last 3 single crochets and you'll double crochet in the very last stitch. And that will end row 3. So for row 4, you want to start off by chaining 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then turn. We're going to be using, see, these are our 5 double crochets we made for our peaks. And we have our 4 spaces. We're only going to be using these 2 center spaces. We're going to be skipping the 2 spaces on the end and just using this space and this space. You want to put a single crochet worked in that space. And then you'll chain 3. And then you will go into the next space and put a single crochet. So single crochet, chain 3, single crochet between those 2 middle spaces. And then you'll want to chain 3. So it'll be only chain 3, chain 3, chain 3, chain 3. So you'll chain 3 and you'll find that middle double crochet here. And you'll put another double crochet in that double crochet. Then again, you'll chain 3. Bring you back up to your next set of 5 double crochets in 4 spaces. Again, you're going to be skipping these outer spaces and only using the 2 middle ones. You'll put a single crochet in the first one, chain 3, and then single crochet in the next. And you'll then chain 3 again. And then you'll put your double crochet in that center double crochet here. Then you'll chain 3 again, and then you'll work the same single crochet, chain 3, single crochet using the 2 center spaces here. And repeat that for the row. And when you get to the end of your row, you want to put a double crochet. So you'll chain 3 as normal, find the ending stitch, which is a chain 3. So in that top of the chain 3, you're going to put a double crochet on the top of the chain 3. And that will end row 4. So for row 5, and this will be the last row of the repeat, and it's essentially going to be row 1. But instead of doing it with chains, you're going to be doing it with the stitches. So for row 5, you're going to chain 1 and turn. And you want a single crochet in that very first single crochet. I'm sorry, very first double crochet. Then you'll chain 3. Whoops. Chain 3. And then using the center chain 3 spaces only, you're going to be putting a double crochet like we did for the very first row here. Put a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. We're going to do that, but in the center chain 3 spaces. So put a double crochet, chain 3. Double crochet all in that same chain 3 space. Okay, it's hard to work with this thicker yarn. And then you'll chain 3, which will bring us to that space that's in between our shells, basically, that center double crochet. And you'll want to put a single crochet here. And remember, the single crochet is essentially it's the same one here. So we're going to be always skipping that one because the next one we're going to be skipping over that. So this is the only single crochet that will never actually be worked in, but it's an anchor stitch. So after you get your single crochet anchor stitch in there, you'll chain 3, and that'll bring you up to the repeat here, where you'll put your double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet, all worked in that chain 3 stitch. And then you'll chain 3 on this side too. In the very ending stitch, which is our chain 6, you're going to want to put a single crochet in the center of that chain 3 stitch. So you can count. I find it easier to count from the bottom, like 1, 2, 3, because you can see how you can clearly see there's 3 stitches here, and there's the last stitch here. So I'm going to skip these, was it 3 that we skip here? Let me just make sure it says here. Yeah. So it wants us to put it in the 4th chain over. So we're going to count up 1, 2, 3, and then this 3rd stitch, we'll put a single crochet. So we'll fully be skipping 3 chains on this side. And then, so we'll go up 2 from here, and then that 3rd stitch up. So the 4th chain over if you're going from this way. And that will end row 5. Now it's just the repeats. Repeats 2 through 5. So let's go back to 2 real quick. And 2 is, you want to chain 1 and turn. And you'll be putting a single crochet in that very first single crochet. And then again, you'll be working 3 single crochets onto this chain 3 space. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll skip the double crochets, and in that chain 3 space, remember, we're going to put 5 single crochets worked into that same stitch. And if you need to scooch your yarn over, do it, especially with this thick yarn I'm using. So skip the next double crochet, and now in the next chain 3 space, put 3 single crochets. Then again, only stitch you'll ever really skip. Well, besides the 2 double crochets. So, but this middle anchor stitch there, you'll skip and just go right in and do your 3 single crochets. And then in the center, you'll put the 5. We'll keep repeating this for the row. That's 3, 4, and 5. And then on the last chain 3 space here, we'll put 3 single crochets, and then single crochet in your ending single crochet. And that will be the repeat of row 2. And so for row 3, repeat of row 3, we're going to chain 3 and turn. 1, 2, 3. Chain 3 and turn. And remember, we're going to skip these 4 single crochets of the row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will bring us up to our 5 center ones. So go ahead, yarn over, put a double crochet in that very first of the 5, and chain 1. And then working the 4 stitches here, I'm going to be putting a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, again double crochet, chain 1, and then the last double crochet, don't chain 1. You have your 5 double crochets and 4 chain 1 spaces. And then you'll find that stitch that's in the center here above your single crochet here, and you'll put a double crochet in that stitch. Then again, without chaining, you're going to skip these next 3. 1, 2, 3. Find this first one. That'll be the first of the 5. You'll put 1 double crochet, chain 1. And you'll do the double crochet, chain 1 for the next 3 also. This is old yarn and it's thick. There we go. Okay, the final single crochet here, you'll just do a double crochet. And then again, you'll find your center and keep going. And when you get to the end of the row, you again skip these 3 here, and you'll put a double crochet worked in the very last stitch of your row. And that's the repeat of row 3. So for row 4, row 4 is the chain 6. So we'll chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn. So for this one, we're going to be doing our chain 3s. We're only going to be using our 2 center spaces here. So going into our first center space, put a single crochet, then you'll chain 3, and then you'll go into your next space and put a single crochet. And then you'll do chain 3 again. and you'll put a double crochet in your double crochet. Then you'll chain 3 again, and you'll again, finding the 2 middle spaces, we'll put a single crochet, chain 3, then single crochet in the next. And then again, you'll chain 3. In the very last stitch of the row, you will put a double crochet in the top of the chain 3 to end row 4. That'd be the end of row 4. So the repeat, the last row of the repeat is 5. So you will chain 1. This is the repeat of row 5. And you want a single crochet in that first single crochet of your row. And then we're going to be making our peaks again using the middle chain 3 space. So you will chain 3. And then in that middle chain 3 space of your peak, you'll do your new peak of double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, all worked in that same chain 3 space. And then you'll chain 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. And then you'll single crochet in the top of your double crochet. You'll chain 3. And then again, you'll do your peak again of double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, all worked in that center chain 3 space. And then again, you will chain 3. Then you'll count over, in this ending chain 6, you'll count over. It's so much easier to go from the bottom. Count up 3. So 1, 2, 3. So in this third chain, which is the 4th one over, you will put a single crochet. And that will end the repeat. And then you just go back to row 2. Keep repeating that over and over again. That's it. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please don't forget to like and share. This really helps me out a lot. And please go and check out some of the other stitches I have on my channel. I'm going to be making lots of new stitches, lots of new tutorials. On my site, there's a picture tutorial and a chart, everything you need to get these stitches done. So that's it, guys. Thank you so very much for watching. Bye.